Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. Welcome to my mini mandala series. This is episode 11, and today I'm making a mini mandala by using a micron pen, a coin, a graphite pencil for some shading, and a blending tool called a tortillon. I'm also using a small sketchbook. It's a 5x5 sketchbook. So the point of these videos is that we can make mandalas without all of the fancy tools. So you do not need much to create a little mandala as long as you do not have expectations of perfection. We're not going to measure our lines. We're not going to make it perfectly symmetrical. This is just an exercise in concentration and enjoyment. Okay. I'm going to start with my pencil today, and I'm going to pick a spot in my sketchbook, and I'm going to trace around my coin. Like that. And then I'm going to draw my grid lines. So to do that, I just make a line across the center of that circle, and I extend it out. And then I do a vertical, just a light pencil sketch. Then I'm going to do an X shape. So I'm trying to keep those sides about the same width. This way, that way. If you'd like to use a ruler, you can, but I kind of like to just keep it simple. Okay, now I'm going to pick up my pen. And today I'm going to start at the center dot, and I'm going to make these little seed shapes that are going to go over this line. So I'm going to make a seed shape inside those two lines, but going over that one. Just trying to keep these sort of consistent in shape and size, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. And I'm going to just bring them all together in the center with a small dark circle. Kind of a little daisy shape. Now I'm going to do another layer of that seed shape, and it's going to go in between each of those previous seed shapes. And I really want these to just point out pretty evenly, but like right here I can tell that my line is a little bit off, so when I make mine, I may end up a little bit to the side. That's okay. So putting these shapes in between the ones that are already there. I'm going to go back to that first petal, and I'm going to put in a line with a dot. A line and a dot, just in that first layer. Okay, now on this lower petal, I'm going to do a triangular aura with a little bit of space. So I'm just giving it this little point coming out from that first set. I love how our mandalas build from the center and they just grow and look so beautiful. Okay, from those little pointy mountain or triangular shapes that we just made, I'm going to add 2 little curvy petals. So these are on these wider ones in the middle of these lines. Like that. Then I'm going to add that seed pod shape again, but very small, in between each of these little spirals. And I feel like I'm just always focusing on going from that center circle out to the edge of the paper. So I don't want this to point any other way except out. So each time I make these, I'm trying to point to that outer edge of the paper. Now, if you look at mine, it's not perfect. I've got triangular shapes that are different sizes, my little seed pods shape from one to the other. Please don't overthink it. Please don't try to be perfect. This is meant to be enjoyable. Okay, so now we're going to make a shape that, I'll make it over here first. It goes almost like a little backwards S, and then the same thing that way. So an S and a backwards S. If you're not comfortable with that, then just do another kind of a mountain shape. All right, so I'm going to go from this seed pod to this seed pod, and I want to put that shape over that last little seed I just made. So I'm going to come up like this and like that. Again, thinking about pointing it straight out, even if it's a little bit off from the one you made before. Just adding that little bit of a curve to it. And now I'm going to add another curve inside. So I'm going to start from that same point, and I'm just going to curve up to that same point and back down. So I'm just giving it this little bit of a, I don't know, a little line in there. Now this one here I made kind of short, so I'm going to make my line on the outside just to make that a little bit larger. Just adding this extra little detail. Okay, Now in between each of these shapes, I'm going to continue with that same pod shape. So I'm going to do a little one, and then I'm going to do teeny tiny ones on the side. So little one in the middle, and then just some teeny tiny ones on the side. Kind of tricky to fit those in there all the time, but that's okay. Do your best. If you'd like to put something else in that area, go ahead. And now I'm going to sort of round off my whole piece here. So I'm going to put in a double curve over each of those last sections that we just made. So a double curve. Kind of bringing that whole piece together. So pretty. And then for some ending touches, on the tip of each of these large ones, I'm going to put a little dark dot or a little dark orb. And then I want to add those same small black orbs or dots or circles around the outside edges of those bumps that we did. So I'm just going to put 3 or 4 or 5. Looks like I'm doing about 4. See how every detail we add just adds a little bit more interest, makes it look a little bit more elegant. And all of these mini mandalas can just be a start to a much larger mandala. So feel free to keep going, add more bumps, add more little triangular shapes. Keep going if you want. There we go. I love it. All right, now I'm going to put my pencil down, or my pen down, and I'm going to pick up an eraser. I'm going to erase that first circle that I made in the center. I'm going to erase my grid lines. And I'm going to add some shading. So for shading, I have this little graphite pencil. It's from Zentangle.com. Any graphite pencil will work. And I'm going to start with that initial flower shape that I made, and I really want that to pop out and come forward. So I'm going to put graphite around the outside of that. I'm putting it on pretty dark because I really want that contrast. And then I take my blending tool, this is called a tortillon, and I just push that out and away just a little bit. creating a small shadow. And look at how that changes. It really brings it forward. I'm also going to add a little bit around that center circle and push that out a little bit. I love it. Okay, now I'm going to go around that second set of petals. Same thing, just adding that pencil line on the outside. You don't have to make this one as dark if you don't want to. And while I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and add it to that first set of triangles. And then I just take a minute to spread each of those out away from that line. Gives the illusion that these are stacked on top of each other instead of just drawn by each other. I love it. Okay, back to the pencil. For this one, I'm going to put it on the outside of this last large triangle. So these last kind of triangular petals. Going all the way around. Even before we soften it, it looks so good. I'm always pushing out and away. Look at how it pushes that last shape to the background. I love it. And then I'm also going to do that outside bump. Going right over those little inked in dots that I made. And pushing that away. There we go. You can go back and soften this so it blends out a little bit more if you'd like. There it is. So the last thing I want to do, because I feel like I added so much shading and these little shapes in here look really flat to me. So I'm going to put a little bit in the bottom of each of these petals. and just push that up just to add a little bit of interest there. Okay, that looks better to me. All right, there's our mini mandala, episode 11. Initial your work. And then also date your work. And I like to write a little journal entry about what's going on in my life, what things are on my heart this particular week. So just a little journal entry about that. Date it, enjoy. Please follow, subscribe for more mandala videos. You can also follow me on Let's Tangle on Facebook for other drawing videos. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.